It's August 7th, and these market conditions suck. They really suck. It's been tough since the last week of July into the first week of August thus far. I just have a hard time seeing a high quality setup in line with my plan. And today was no different. You know, today I felt like I was really grasping at straws. Coming off of a couple losses this week, I really just felt like I was seeing what I wanted to see. But nonetheless, I stuck to the plan as best as I can and took a sell trade on Nasdaq today. So I want to go over that trade, show you how that came out. So here's the schematic. Typical London sell trade, a breach of London high, and then a shift in market structure getting me into a sell position. But once I show you the chart, you're going to see just how messy it looks. So I just kind of keep this diagram in mind and take a look at this. This just looks a mess, and this is in the morning shortly after news. So these red flags here are 8:30 news on both markets. My London range is a mess. It's not even a real range. As you can see, the entire thing was taken out at 6:15 on S&P, and it was taken out at 7 a.m. on Nasdaq. So because these levels were hit so early, I just drew out a new line to see if we would breach it at market open, which is what happened on Nasdaq. But I want to go over the framework here. So London low is all the way down here from 2:45 a.m. On both markets. But in between my London range, there's this 1 hour buy side imbalance. You can see it better here. And what I was looking for during pre-market was to see if price could go from internal range liquidity, meaning leaving this gap, to external range liquidity, meaning making a new high. And you can see that only one of these markets did that. All right. So even though I'm in replay, it's kind of just showing you the result here. But on Nasdaq, we did hit external range liquidity, but over here on S&P, we did not. So that right there was the divergence that I would use to frame a sell trade. All right, so I want to get into that trade right here. So going back to the 15-minute. So at 9:30, you can see price hits external range liquidity over here on the right. And again, that's from price going from internal range, which is this 1 hour fair value gap, to external range liquidity, which is this previous swing high, which was created before we dropped into this area. Okay, and you can see just how much the S&P is lagging behind the Nasdaq going into that very similar area. So I was anticipating a short-term reversal from this area. It could be short-term or long-term. It doesn't really matter. Whenever price hits an external range liquidity, I am always anticipating some sort of a reversal. And within that, I look for an opportunity, especially if it lines up with time and price. Okay, so time is very important. And as you can see, the time for this was at 9:30, which was right at market open. So this is where I begin looking for a sell. So now that we've actually engaged the liquidity pool in line with my plan, again, this is very similar to the schematic. Now, in the schematic, I like to see this happen. I like to see the raid on a London session high itself happen around 9:30. But in the case of this chart, because London range high was taken out at 7 a.m., I'm basically using that swing high as my quote unquote new London range high. All right, so that's where I'm getting my liquidity raid from. So dropping down to the 5-minute. All right, so all I'm doing here is I'm looking for a bearish engulfing on the 5-minute, and this is going to give me some bearish order flow to use on the 1-minute in terms of an entry. So if you look at this over here on the right, my bearish engulfing has to close below the wick low of an up close candle after my liquidity has been hit. So if I was looking for a bearish engulfing right now, I would need to see a down close candle close beyond the wick low of this last up close candle. And as you can see, we didn't get that here, right? The body of the candle does close below the body of the up close candle, but that's not what I count as a bearish engulfing. I need the body of the down close candle to go below the wick low. So it should be all the way beyond this tan box. Okay. So watch what happens here. So I would not count this as a bearish engulfing. If I go to the next candle, this too is not a bearish engulfing. You can see the body is not closing beyond this tan box. Okay, it needs to close beyond the wick low. So what this does is it keeps me out of taking an unnecessary loss or a premature loss. And you'll see what happens on the next candle. So if I go to the next candle here, You can see price is actually now pushing right back up towards that previous swing high. And right there helped me avoid a loss by using this one filter. Okay, so I'm still looking for a bullish engulfing, but now I'd be looking for it on the last up close candle, since we just reached into the high again. And that's what happened soon after this candle formed. All right, so we have this small down close candle here. And if I'm looking for a sell, I want to see price close beyond this down close candle here from 955. And it happened right here. So the very low of the candle at 955 on Nasdaq, which is the chart on the right, it is 23,605.75 cents. And I'll just draw that out with a line. All right. And the close, right? I'm not looking at the low. I want to see the close of the down close candle. The close was 23,605.25 cents. Okay. So it closed 50 cents lower than the up close candle. And that's all I need for my entry setup to align so that I can drop down to the 1 minute. All right. So when I saw this, I dropped to the 1 minute, and right here, there was a really nice inversion fair value gap from the 1 minute. It was formed from 9:54 a.m. to 9:56 a.m. I put a limit order on that, and my stop went right above the previous swing high. Not here. I put it right here, and I'll draw that out. So this is a pretty large stop in my opinion, especially even on Nasdaq. I prefer to keep it closer to like 17 to 24 points. That just wasn't the case here. So from there, I targeted 3R. So here's what that looked like. And from there, I just waited for the entry and waited for the trade to play out. So let's hit play, see the entry. Okay. At 10:17, I got my entry. This was a little worrisome for me because if you look over here on the left, you can see that S&P is just really weak in comparison to Nasdaq. It's much closer to my London session low from 2:45 a.m. compared to Nasdaq, which is quite a ways away. All right, you can see that same level down here. Look at how high we are compared to where S&P is. Okay, so I wasn't sure if the S&P was going to hit that level and then reverse higher. All right, despite if it would have happened or not, I kind of just stuck with the trade and pretty much just hope for the best. That's all I can do. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play this out for you. So here's how that trade played out. Okay, we did hit 50% of the range here. I was measuring. Price did pull back a little bit, started to chop. And when I saw this chop, take a look at what it looks like over here on S&P. Remember, this blackened line here is my London session low. I was quite nervous thinking that, okay, a reversal is about to happen here. And so I believe the drop happened once more and I closed early. So let me show you that. Okay. Right in here, shortly after this up close candle, let me just hit play again. I'm just going to hop out to the 5 minute. Okay. It was this candle here, right here. I ended up closing early on the low end of this candle. So I closed right around here. And I was just really annoyed. I was really annoyed. I just wasn't sure if price was going to hit my target. I mean, I felt like I was already asking for a lot, but I didn't quite get 3R. It was like 2.72R. But of course, as soon as I closed out my trade, price went on to hit my target. It was an annoying trade. It was an annoying trade. I was a little frustrated based off of the type of price action I had been seeing these last 2 weeks. But I can't deny the fact that I was given a trade that worked out. So there's a lot to be grateful for, a lot to reflect on. But that was my trade from this morning. I'm still recovering mentally. A lot of my mental capital has been drained leading up into this week. So I'm just trying to take time to recover and stay focused. But that was my trade from this morning, and I'll show you guys the recording now.
are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just touching me.